faith is there is no such thing as a lack of faith. Because often people say, well, I don't have any faith. We all have plenty of faith. It's just that we have faith in the wrong things. We have faith in what can't be done rather than what can be done. We have faith in lack rather than abundance. But there is no lack of faith. Faith is a law. So what is it that we push, that we focus and center our conscious energy on a regular basis? Is it imperfect health or perfect health? Is it imperfect relationships or perfect relationships? Is it what's right with the world or what's wrong with the world? What is it that we place our faith in? Because faith does not know right or wrong. It just knows that what we put our energy in, it responds to. That's what faith is. That's the beauty of what faith does. And one way that we can continuously enhance and strengthen our faith is through prayer. And when we pray, there is a power in our affirmative prayers which we believe and absolutely affirm increases our connection to God. Prayer is like having a one-on-one conversation with your best girlfriend. And if you go years between having that one-on-one conversation with your best girlfriend, what's the relationship like when you finally do spend some time to get together? You kind of be foreign and distant and take some time to reconnect. But if it's a loving friend, it doesn't take too long before now you're suddenly connected again and it feels like no time has been lost at all. And that's the way prayer is that as we spend time in it, all that it does is enhance our divine connection to that infinite power. And that's what we want to have our faith in, is that every time we turn within, wow, I am deepening my relationship with that divine intelligence that created me. Generosity also lives in simple giving of our time and attention to others. Is there a friend, a loved one that you haven't had a cup of coffee with for a while? That you're going, I need to call them. How many people here in the last week or two had a thought go through your mind and somebody popped up into your consciousness and goes, I haven't connected with them for a while and I should, and then you don't. And maybe that person, for some reason, is coming into your mind because they need your attention. We don't always know why at the moment. But when we don't follow that guidance, that attention, who knows what's being missed out? Because what many people need is that time for somebody just to listen. To listen from a place of stillness, from compassion, and just appreciation of the beauty that's in us. So, as I shared about the importance of where we hold our thoughts and the energy that we focus on, is that our subconscious mind is what dominates every aspect of our life. Who you are as a person and who you are in life, in relationship to where you want to be, is largely a reflection of the subconscious mental condition that's occurred to this point in life. In other words, the sum total of all of our collective thinking, of all of our beliefs and our thoughts, is what is dictating our subconscious power within us. And our subconscious mind is what drives us. It's the subconscious mind that is the controlling force of your life. But it's important that we learn how to use this subconscious mind to guide us through our infinite world and this infinite world of possibility and abundance. That's the value of learning the power of self-affirmations. Self-affirmation is a proven tool to influence the subconscious. It doesn't happen overnight, but it can and does happen for those who make affirmations, positive statements, an active part of their daily living. Now here's the newest science that I've been sharing with about the importance of how our thoughts can change our brains. The human brain is a wondrous and mysterious organ. It's truly awe-inspiring. It has fantastic capabilities. Its secrets are only now being revealed, thanks in large part to the various technologies that allow researchers like Dr. Andrew Newberg, neuroscientist at the University of Pennsylvania, and Mark Robert Walden, psychologist, to peer deep inside our brains. A major finding of recent years is the adaptability of the brain to change in its environment. This neuroplasticity is good news, not only for people with brain injury, who once were told that recovery, if any, was possible with only the first couple of post-injury years. Instead, science is proving that recovery can continue over a lifetime. The news is also good for us since we literally create our own internal environment with our thoughts and emotions. We can play an active role in many of the changes our brain undergoes by paying attention to what we think and feel and making changes when necessary. We can actively enhance the neural structures that make us calmer and more compassionate, that improve memory and our cognitive skills, and more. Yet there's a flip side to that same coin, Dr. Newberg says. Be careful what you choose to think about. If you ruminate on negative thoughts, you can actually damage important areas in your brain that regulate emotions and memory. I'm going to read that again because it's so important. This is where we always want to practice mindfulness of our thoughts. Be careful what you choose to think about. So if you had to go through your last week, what was the main 2 or 3 thoughts that you gave the most energy to? If they're positive, great. If they weren't, listen. If you ruminate on negative thoughts, you can actually damage important areas in your brain that regulate emotions and memory. They go on, the 2 people, Waldman and Newberg, go on to say that they cite a fascinating study that used functional magnetic resonance imaging, better known as MRI, to watch what was happening inside the brains of people who were shown simple lists of positive and negative words. So the study was, all they were doing was, they hooked up the MRI machine to the person's brain, and they're showing them positive words and negative words. That's all, just a list. Merely reading the positive list lowered anxiety and depression, while reading the negative list increased them. So what that's saying is, if we hold positive thoughts, it lowers our anxiety and depression. If we hold negative thoughts, it increases them. It's that simple. Furthermore, since our ancestors that we've been talking so much about here these last few months, our ancestors survived by being alert to danger. The most ancient part of our brain, called the limbic or reptile brain, evolved to be constantly on the lookout for things that could harm us. This is the part of our brain that is judgmental, that is critical, that is condemning, that lives for self-preservation, period. It's always questioning another's character. It's always questioning another's behavior. It's what we have referred to for a long time as the ego because we didn't know that it was really the reptilian brain working in us. This is the unhealthy part of our brain, and it's constantly on the lookout trying to protect us all the time from an encroaching enemy. So negative words, emotions, and actions, which the limbic brain perceives as dangerous, have a stronger effect on us than positive ones do. Listen to that. It's so important to understand. Negative words and emotions and actions, which the limbic brain perceives as dangerous, have a stronger effect on us than positive ones do. Even seeing the word no, 1 second raises the level of the stress chemical called cortisol, says Waldman. For 1 second. How many times do we tell ourselves no? In some way. We don't deserve this. We're not good enough. We're not worthy enough. Here's this important part right here. But replacing negativity takes a lot of effort because positive feelings and thoughts are not as easily embedded in our memory circuits, which are primarily designed to record incidents that could be threatening to our survival. That is huge right there. I'm going to read it again. It says, but replacing negativity takes a lot of effort. That's when people come in and start working on themselves. They're going, God, this is hard. Yes, it is. Because our brain responds to negative perceptions quicker than it does to positive ones. Because the positive ones aren't going to hurt us. Remember, the core part of our brain, the limbic or reptilian brain, is all about self-preservation. So anything that signals danger, it wants to avoid. And it's going to latch onto it to warn you at any time it might start to come up. So if one person ever looks at you the wrong way, it's going to say, hey, be careful. Even though 100 other times they were really nice to you. But that 2 seconds of being mean or saying something wrong or acting not perfect, the limbic brain says, woo, careful, careful. And every time you see that person thereafter, it's saying, careful, careful, Careful. And the positive part of our thoughts do not embed as quickly or as fast into our memory circuits. On top of this, our brains make no distinction, and listen to this. God, this is awesome. On top of this, our brains make no distinction between inner and outer reality.